Welcome back to the 2019 MRDA Championships here in Denver, Colorado. I'm Champ Unkind.
I'm Brett Example.
And we've got 2 games left. The one you're about to watch, our third place game between the Vancouver Murder and Texas Outlaws. This is going to be a fun game. Both teams came in here. We're hoping for gold, but one of them's going to leave with bronze and the other will 4th place.
4th place is not to be sneezed at. This has been a very tough competition.
Yes.
It so happens that the 1st and 2nd seeds are the ones that are playing for gold and silver.
Yes.
So that seeding was accurate, but we've seen a lot of other upsets.
Yes, some movement around in the rankings, and that's going to be reflected at the end of the tournament. We will have that. But both teams did start. Texas started at 4, I believe, and the Murder at 3. So, again,
will it be seeding or will it not?
Exactly. Right where kind of it was predicted to be, with the Gatekeepers and Magic City coming up next. But we still do have this 3rd place game. There is a lot at stake. That valued bronze medal. Last year, the Murder faced off of that bronze medal but did not win it against Toulouse. So now they are looking to place for the first time in team history. Texas trying to, rise up in the rankings as well and maybe leave one spot ahead of where they came in. I don't know what that sound is or who's making. Oh,
it's a humanoid
somewhere
in the arena,
building,
making a whole lot of noise.
Yes, and so we're going to go ahead and introduce our teams. I'll go ahead and introduce Vancouver, which will be in white. For the Vancouver Murder, number 01, Big Sexy. Number 110, Mr. Testosterone. Number 14, Russian. Number 17, Zimmer. Number 1936, Harrison Ford. Number 256, Morrison. Number 31, Bruiseberry Pie. Number 338, Cluster Cluck. Number 37, Stark. Number 4, Stand Aside. Number 41, Rogers. Number 56, Iron Fist. Number 7, Black Shadow. Number 8, Lodge. And number 88, Mortimer. Coached by Mrs. T and Just Cat.
Wearing black today will be Texas men's roller derby Texas Outlaws. Leading off with number 0, the Big O. Number 10, Joe Hurt. Number 126 is the Lambo R. Feeties. Number 151 is the Enabler. At number 20, we've got Jones. Number 22 is Antrax. Number 23 is Quadzilla LK. At 28, we've got Dr. Feelgood. At number 448 is Pound Town. Number 6 is G.I. Joel. Number 56 is Ruffin. Number 7 is Tally. Number 81 is Hopper. And number 9 is Rhino. Captain is number 4, TJ Binkley. On the bench, we've got Great Wall of Gina, Nancy, and Bailey Wheat.
So it is going to be Mr. Testosterone with the star first, going up against Joe Hurt for Texas.
Joe Hurt has had a very good weekend.
Yeah, so is Mr. Testosterone, who does one of his signature moves there, just spinning around. That'll be in a YouTube video in a little bit, instructionally. There we go, underway. Mr. Testosterone into that pack. Again, Texas in black, Vancouver in white, and it's Joe Hurt from the back, picking up our first lead jammer of the game.
Mr. Testosterone still pushing through, but gets past number 6. G.I. Joel clear to score for Vancouver.
One Texas blocker goes to the box as Joe Hurt gets in the pack, taps his hips, calls it off. That is 2 points to start the game for Texas.
So still no score for Vancouver. Lots of time left in the game. 29 and a half remaining in our first period of play. Early days. Coming out for Vancouver is number 8, Lodge. Will be jamming against number 151, the Enabler, for Texas.
So one blocker in the box for Texas. Loses the star, but luckily sees it right there on the floor.
If that came off involuntarily, then he'll still be eligible for lead.
Yes, and he's still looking for room. Lodge moving to the outside, goes up against, Binkley, the captain. Forced out, now stand aside, will head to the penalty box. Texas back up to full strength.
A quick no-pack, quickly reformed the Enabler through first and lead jammer. That's both leads of the game so far to Texas.
Yes. So we do have a little... There's a little time delay with the scoreboard right now. We'll get that fixed after this jam. But Lodge did take off the star, now puts it back on. Lead is Texas, and 4 points picked up. First 4 of the jam for the Outlaws.
Enabler continuing to skate. Everybody coming through turn 4 right in front of us.
Lodge is able to score points. That is going to be 4 for Lodge.
We heard a whistle. We haven't seen the skater go off yet.
Lodge over the apex, but into TJ Binkley.
More for the enabler.
And good defense there by Texas. Enabler back in the pack now, going to the outside. Morrison thought he had him, but he didn't.
Another 4 points.
So I see Lodge on that outside line, taking a hit. And Enabler basically doing the exact same thing. So we'll rewind it, reverse it.
And everybody coming back here behind the jammer line.
Scoreboard, the time is correct on the scoreboard now. And there are 4 points on the board for Vancouver.
Answered by 2 for Texas.
Yeah, so it should be 8-14 on that jam. Now 16-8 on the scoreboard.
There will be about 26 and a half remaining in our first period when the next jam starts. That jam will feature number 28, Dr. Feelgood. He emphasizes he's not a real doctor.
No, but he's the one that makes you feel all right.
He'll be jamming for Texas against
Stark.
Number 37, Stark.
Yeah, do. Stark looking for room. If you haven't heard the Wombo Combo song, you should. I believe it was inspired by something else, but it is Texas. No, a no pass, no penalty on Dr. Feelgood, so he is Dr. Not Lead Jammer.
However, clear to score, and he's about to do so. Lead is awarded to Stark, who has the option of calling off the jam, does not do so immediately.
Yeah, that is carry Stark, to be specific. Stark now in the pack. He is lead, trusting his blockers, and looks like it might be a wise decision. Just as I said it, though, curse of the announcer, 4 points, Texas.
Stark pushing. They're pushing into turn number 3. Now Stark is calling it off. 4 for Vancouver. That will be a 4-4 jam.
Yes, it is. So, score currently 20-12. Under 26 remaining in the first half. We're about to head into our 4th jam of the game. It is number 7, Black Shadow. I'm sorry, that is number 7, Tally.
Yes.
Tally for Texas. And number 338, Cluster Cluck. The most dangerous name for an announcer.
You gotta enjoy those names that need to be very carefully either pronounced or mispronounced as appropriate.
I'd rather not mispronounce that one, and at least not on a live stream.
But there have been names, and we need not go into details that I have been careful to mispronounce.
Yes. So it is a 4-3 pack advantage in favor of Vancouver. Some offensive blocking for Vancouver from Harass and Ford, and it works because Lead Jammer goes to Vancouver with Harass and Ford heading to the penalty box. There goes Tally. He took the star off, but gets through.
Called off with 3 points on the jam for Vancouver Murder. That takes them to 15. Now within, well, shall we say, firing distance of Texas.
If they didn't get rid of the jammer lap point.
Yeah, well.
Oh, well, we were having too much fun saying Grand Slam. My bad.
The jammer lap point is a thing of the past.
You know what? I do like how much quicker the games move now, because counting is hard, and it's just way easier.
We're going to see a repeat matchup of our first jam of the game as number 10, Joe Hurt, takes the star for Texas against vice versa. For Texas. And number 110, Mr. Testosterone.
Yeah, Mr. T in the pack getting hit, gets low, just wants to make sure he falls correctly and safely. Always appreciated.
We have had a few stoppages of play this weekend for injury. We don't like to see that.
But, unfortunately that does happen. It's part of Derby. That's why we have medics, and everyone wears pads.
It is a full contact sport.
Yes. So both jammers have to recycle. We still do not have a lead. Joe Hurt moving to the outside, gets past the last blocker. That's Iron Fist, and we have a lead. Jammer about 35 seconds into it. Joe Hurt of Texas.
Back and forth leads so far in the game. First couple to Texas, next couple to Vancouver, and now back to Texas.
And there's Joe Hurt through the pack. 4 points on the board, bringing up to 24. Mr. T with the star in hand finds some room to the outside on turn 3 into turn 4, and he'll complete his initial pass. But Joe Hurt on the inside. Great hit by Harass and Ford. It's going to stop him. He's only going to get 3.
Still 20. That's 7 points on Texas's tally. That is 27 total to Vancouver's 15.
And what we've seen in a lot of these games so far is one team kind of jump out ahead early, and then another team comes back, and often that team that comes back has won it.
Yes.
So maybe that's going to happen here, but it's a little different because it really hasn't swung really in favor of one team. It's slightly.
And it's still very, very early
Very
days. Only
early.
the 6th jam of the game, which will feature number 8 Lodge jamming for Vancouver, taking on Ruffin,
Yes.
sometimes known as Danger Zone, number 56 for Texas.
I'm just going to say Ruffin because I want to sing Danger Zone. If I keep
Yeah,
saying
that's
that.
kind of dangerous, isn't it?
Yes.
So to speak.
In the zone.
Ruffin, lead jammer.
As Bruceberry Pie heads to the penalty box, Lodge gets pushed way out, and he's going to come back like a comet re-entering the solar system.
If he ends up passing the star to anybody, do we have to say that he's Ruffin the passer?
I think we should. I think we have to now.
I'm sorry.
Hey.
I am a dad. I come by it honestly.
But if you're listening at home, you should use that. So, Ruffin,
Everybody's all tangled up in turn 3. Just almost no forward progress.
stand aside will not stand aside.
Lodge takes a run at it, is deflected into the outfield, and has to recycle.
A good blocking there by Morrison, stand aside, and Rogers. Bruceberry Pie, swing and a miss.
Ruffin is still pushing at the top of the pack, and Vancouver is refusing to yield.
Yeah, this is still his first scoring pass as well,
Yes.
so no official points on the board yet. I'm sure his hips have passed a couple of the players.
Oh, yeah.
But, they don't tell you until they get out.
And that's going to be time on the jam.
He does get all 4, so it is a 4-0 jam as we are now at 31-15, under 21 and a half remaining in the first half.
So a lot of action so far. Advantage strongly to Texas, who actually comes in with the lower seed.
But a lot of passion. A lot of...
Well, Texas has been performing very well. They did have to... They really wanted to make a statement last night against St. Louis. They did not manage.
Yeah, I was talking to a few of the players before, and they were very motivated. They were excited to play St. Louis. Unfortunately for them, though, St. Louis Gatekeepers are still the St. Louis Gatekeepers. And it is, speaking of someone related to a St. Louis Gatekeeper, Stark, who is the lead jammer for Vancouver.
The enabler gets out of the pack with the star for Texas.
As Big Sexy heads to the penalty box for Vancouver. Stark's going to pick up a fast 4, call it off, and we'll move on to the next jam now. 31-19, under 20 and a half remaining in the first half.
Thank you for tuning in to the 5-on-5 Media broadcast of this event this weekend. 5-on-5 Media has been working very hard the last few weekends, bringing you all the derby that's happened in the Denver area, which is a lot. So check them out and consider subscribing at 5on5media.com.
That was an understatement of how much derby there was here.
A lot.
I
I think the technical term is a bunch. So we have number 338, Fluster Cluck, jamming for Vancouver against number 28, Dr. Feelgood, who's the first one out and lead jammer for Texas. That is 5 lead calls for Texas in this period.
Yeah, but Dr. Feelgood did not have lead his first time, as he did get the no pass, no penalty, so it is his first time as lead. Now picking up his first 4 of the jam, and it'll be his only 4 of the jam because he calls it off.
Takes the score to 35 points for Texas, 19 still on the board for Vancouver.
Looks like Vancouver's penalty box, brought to you by 808 Roller Skates, is getting a little full there with 2 bodies in there and 1 for Texas.
Big Sexy is standing, though, so he'll be re-entering within the next 10 seconds.
Yeah, and just because of his size and his strength, he's always a factor, so you want to get him back out there as soon as possible. It's going to be Mr. Testosterone and
Joe Hurt. Joe Hurt actually part of the father-son duo on the team. His father is number 22, Anthrax.
And fantastic footwork by Mr. T as he just puts 1 foot up but out of bounds but did not touch and gets lead jammer. About a quarter of a track length between these two with Vancouver's packing back and Texas in front. Let's see what Mr. T does. He is going to get his full 4, but Texas steals 2.
It takes him to 37. 23 for Vancouver. That's the 3 times that those 2 have been matched up. 2 of the leads have gone to Joe Hurt. 1 has gone to Mr. T. That's the first time that Mr. T got it and got points.
So Tally will be lining up on the jam line. Looks like Lodge is coming in for Vancouver.
3rd jam for Lodge, 2nd for Tally. 18 minutes on the first period clock.
Both jammers into the pack. There is one blocker in the box for each team, so 3-3 pack. Good block there by TJ Binkley of Texas onto Lodge, forcing him to the outside.
After cycle all the way back behind the jammer line, that gives time for Tally to get through and grab lead.
Yeah, was just able to move to that inside pass, stand aside. Lodge with some defensive jamming, Star in hand. And a nice block there by stand aside will send Tally back to the jam line. Now Bruceberry Pie with the assist for Vancouver. Now Bruceberry Pie going as the main blocker against the jammer. That's a really good rotation there of Bruceberry Pie and stand aside, just beating that jammer, pushing him out.
Well, it certainly made Tally decide, the heck with this, I'm calling it off. Collected 3 points on the jam.
I don't blame you. Those two have been blocking great all weekend.
17 minutes, your current time remaining in the first period play. Number 151, the Enabler will jam for Texas against Stark, number 37, for the Vancouver Murder.
The Enabler is inevitable, and Stark is Iron Man. All right, Enabler looking for room on the inside, but gets into that wall featuring Big Sexy and Rogers.
Rogers and Stark, huh?
Yeah, Rogers and Stark. Oh, wait. And they're on opposite teams. No, they're on the same team. Never mind. I guess the Avengers have reformed. They're cool again.
Okay, then. Stark is your lead jammer, coming around already for points.
Wait, we already knew that from Endgame. I'm an idiot. Spoilers. So, Stark picks up...
I haven't seen it.
Oh.
I will soon.
Everyone dies. Oh, wait. That's Game of Thrones. That's the other Stark. Never mind. I'm getting confused here. Sorry.
The pop culture references are too fast.
Well, it's a stark contrast.
Oh, second 4-point pass for Stark.
Closing in on Texas. Now tiptoes at the apex, but runs in to Quadzilla, who has the star for Texas.
First star pass of the game.
Yes. Fortunately for you, it wasn't Ruffin who passed it, so we don't have to make that reference.
But you just did.
Oh, well, it will. There's a whole second half.
All right, then.
Stark going up the middle, up against TJ Binkley and Anthrax.
4 points collected by Stark. Falling off the jam.
And that's going to bring it up to 16 points on the jam. Folks, we got a 1-point game. 40-39 as we're about to hit the quarter mark of the game. Flustercluck and Dr. Feelgood.
Got actually quite a bit of crowd forming up here, both inside and outside the boundaries of the track where we are at the Foothills Fieldhouse in Lakewood, Colorado.
Yeah, the camera's pointed at our direction, but under the camera, it is pretty much packed between pass turn 1 and 2. Dr. Feelgood, second time this happened, no pass, no penalty. He is not lead jammer, but is out of the pack first.
This time he's going to get some points.
Fluster looking for room. Still pushing against that 3-wall of Jones, Binkley. And I apologize, I can't see the other blocker. He's behind the other two. That would is Pound Town.
Full 4 points collected by Dr. Feelgood.
Yeah, so even though he is not lead, some great blocking here. Lambo Arfidi's also at the assist for Texas and a star pass. Jammer is through. That is Morrison, who will now be the jammer. And can't be lead because the star was passed, right, so we're going to go the full 2 minutes.
Not a first jam with absolutely no lead.
Only took, 14 minutes? Something like that. 16 minutes. Time is hard.
We got nearly a full minute of that jam remaining. Dr. Feelgood pushing at the top of the pack. Yeah,
going up against Stand Aside, Bruceberry Pie, and Harrison Ford.
At the rear of the pack, it is number 126, Lambo Arfidi's anchoring the defense.
And he's holding Flustercluck, who's past the star in place. And we are going to have a power jam for a low block on Dr. Feelgood. So the doctor is in the box. Morrison looking for some room, looking for some points, trying to get back to that 1-point game. But Texas saying no.
But can that blocking pair hold him back for the full 15 seconds remaining in the jam?
Yeah, it's Pound Town and TJ Binkley with Jones standing by.
Well, and the answer is yes, because this is going to be time on the jam right here.
So he lost. He went from 4 to 3 to 2 to 1 blockers, and then it was over. But he does get all 4 points. 3 more points for Dr. Feelgood. So that should take it up to 11 to 4 on the jam. 51-43 as we're about to hit 12.5 remaining.
Still a very tight game. 8 points is easily 1 jam's worth.
Yeah, we've seen so many close games today already. 2 come from behind victories on the last jam.
In the last jam. Both the first 2 games of the day were just like that.
And it's very important to mention they were the European teams over the U.S. teams.
It's Mr. T versus Joe Hurt again on the jammer line. A track cut assessed to Mr. Testosterone. Yes. Power play for Joe Hurt.
Yeah, we should actually mention all 3 games so far have been the European teams winning over the U.S. teams. So Vancouver is trying to hope that the Americans win no games in the first 4. But the championship game will be between 2 American teams.
Yes.
Magic City, which is a lot of Florida now.
Okay.
More like Magic
out.
More like Magic area. And St. Louis is, kind of the most central part of the country.
It's about as central as you get.
Yeah.
When I was very young, I lived briefly in Missouri. It's where my younger brother was born.
So 4 points on the board for Joe Hurt. That's a 4-0 jam now. 55-43, under 11.5 remaining in the first half. And it is going to be a power start. Mr. T standing in the penalty box, so less than 10 seconds remaining. But advantage to the enabler and Texas. Fortunately for Vancouver, they do have all 4 blockers out there, which helps.
Indeed. In fact, it's 4-on-4 in the pack, as both teams have all 4 blockers.
So the enabler getting behind some of his blockers, looking through, now going up the middle. Lambo Arfides with a great block that opened the door and let the enabler have that apex jump, a clear landing zone. Lead jammer Texas.
Mr. T goes down at the back of the pack, clutching his face, but he's back up on his skates.
As TJ Binkley will head to the 808 roller skates penalty box. Mr. Testosterone passed the last blocker. That's his initial pass. Jones will join Binkley in the penalty box, so down to 2 blockers now for Texas.
On a forearm is sending Bruceberry Pie to the box as well.
Mr. T up the middle. Lambo Arfides, so close, but just not able to push Mr. T out. He had him right on that line, but Mr. T, known for that great footwork, able to stay in bounds.
Now the enabler chooses to call it off with 3 points.
But it is 4-3 on the jam in favor of Vancouver. Scoreboard still in favor of Texas, 58-47 with 10 minutes remaining in the first half. It is going to be a 3-2 pack advantage for Vancouver.
Toss a quick thank you to Left Turn Clothing, athletic apparel for bodies not genders. Visit leftturnclothing.com.
It's going to be Lodge and Dr. Feelgood on the jam line. And it's Dr. Feelgood to the inside. Lead jammer Lodge almost had it, but was pushed in, does have to recycle.
So by my count, Dr. Feelgood 2 for 4 on lead calls. Even when he didn't get lead, he got out of the pack.
So he's been out of the pack first every time, but only 2 for 4 because 2 no pass, no penalties.
Exactly.
4 points, Dr. Feelgood, as there is a star pass to Rogers. I keep almost saying Mr. Rogers.
That's a different person.
Yes, that is a different person entirely. As Dr. Feelgood goes up against Zimmer, he's through for another 4.
Also to the penalty box, Lodge from the pack for Vancouver.
Who was the original jammer for Vancouver. Rogers going up against that 2-wall and through the pack. That's the initial pass. And some good defensive jamming by Dr. Feelgood, sending Rogers out. And Dr. Feelgood, good blocking by Vancouver to prevent the worst thing in Derby from happening, which is when they just go backwards and don't do anything.
4 final points collected by Dr. Feelgood on the jam, total of 12, taking Texas all the way to 70. It's going to be a little over 8 minutes on the clock when we start this next one.
And it looks like we have a timeout being taken by...
Yes, now there's a team timeout.
Vancouver.
That stops the clock. We'll get the official time for you momentarily.
This timeout brought to you by Strong Athletic. Strong Athletic is a Derby-owned and run business started by Smarty Pants in 2014 as a way to amplify the voices of skaters and roller derby. Ever wonder who makes the Strong Athletic skater shirts? It's Strong Athletic! We have shirts and hats for skaters, announcers, officials, coaches, and photographers. Find us online at strongathletic.com.
All the .coms.
All
or
the
many .coms.
Some .org, some .govs. .this, .that.
I'll give a quick shout out to another one, which is RollerDerbyMerch.com. They make merch great again. Not magicians, but offering the coolest styles and wildest products for your derby team. Cowbells, water bottles, jerseys, all of that. Hit them up. They'd love to help. RollerDerbyMerch.com.
Yeah, ran by a skater for the Mohawk Valley Roller Derby, the Quad Fathers. That is Deb Crush.
Joe Hurt back on the line for Texas. For a change, he's not up against Mr. Testosterone. He's up against Stark.
So, Stark gets pushed to the outside. Going to have to recycle. It's that same wall, but this time actually with the big O in there. But a similar pack to what it was before with Lambo, Arfides, Jones, and Binkley.
Morrison to the penalty box for the Vancouver pack. Lead is grabbed by Stark, but he's reabsorbed into the pack.
So he is in control, but no points going to be picked up on this pass because it's a redo. So looks like, yep, he's just going to call it off. Play it safe. Good defense by Texas, being able to reabsorb the jammer, and great jamming by Joe Hurt to make him call it off.
That is the first time that Vancouver has grabbed lead since the 11th jam of the game. This was the 16th.
So the hot streak is over, but no points picked up.
Yes.
So I'm going to bet that a number 7 is going to be lead jammer in this jam.
If there is a lead jammer.
If there is a lead jammer. Curse of the announcer. It is Black Shadow, and that is Tally. Again, Vancouver in white, Texas in black. And no, Black Shadow gets pushed to the inside.
Tyler recycles around the outside of turn number 4. Take another crack in it right back across the jammer line.
Yeah, and that is Fist, who is acting as a fist. So lead jammer, again, that's 2 in a row now for Vancouver. That's Black Shadow, but this time he was able to get out of the pack and get out of the pack.
Yes.
That makes sense if you saw the last jam. Good block there by Jones, sending him to the outside and all the way back to the pivot line. You can see Jones directing her pack.
Tally escapes the pack and is coming around. Will it get called off in time to prevent points? It will.
Now 2 points for Vancouver, so not a lot. Even though they had some good defense there, Tally was able to get out and force them to call it off after 2. 70-49, under 6.5 remaining in the first half. Don't forget, after the final game, we do have the awards ceremony, where we'll find out who will win the awards.
By then we'll know.
And then we'll know. Your guess is as good as mine.
Dr. Feelgood taking the star again for Texas against number 338, Fluster Cluck.
One to the inside, one to the outside. Fluster is all over the place, but so is Dr. Feelgood. Dr. Feelgood spins around and stays in bounds. Lead jammer, Texas.
Really successful out there. As we've observed, he has been the first one out of the pack every time.
Yes, he has. Star pass.
Attempted star pass, but it's not complete.
No, and in fact, an illegal procedure will send Morrison to the 808 roller skates penalty box. Fortunately, it looks like for Vancouver, the confusion did let Fluster Cluck through.
He picks the star back up at any rate. 4 points collected by Dr. Feelgood so far.
Nice hit by Bruce Berry Pie to the outside. And a nice hit by Big Sexy.
Dr. Feelgood opts not to call it off. With no pass, no penalty, 3 points collected by Fluster Cluck.
Oh, and a low block on Dr. Feelgood. We're going to go the full 2 minutes and have a power jam in favor of Vancouver.
Only the second power jam in favor of Vancouver in this game so far.
Oh, it looks like a forearm on number 22 of Texas Anthrax, and another 4 points for Fluster and Vancouver.
We see Dr. Feelgood standing up, so fewer than 10 seconds remaining on his penalty.
Another 4 points on the board. That is 11 so far on the jam. Fluster looking for room. Oh, Dr. Feelgood out of the box, out of the pack. There's 4 points.
About 15 seconds left before the whistle blows.
808 roller skates penalty box is currently empty, which is why there's more people out there now. Dr. Feelgood gets a little hug from Morrison, and that's why he's going to go to the box for a forearm.
We also have a skater hit the track right in front of us. I believe it is Fluster Cluck.
Yes, that is the jammer, so we're going to take an injury timeout.
So 4 points apiece awarded at the end there, so it is 64 to 78. Stop clocked at 4 minutes and 8 seconds. So,
excuse me, it's 64 to 82. There it is. 16 to 12 on the jam in favor of Vancouver. So the highest scoring overall jam between the two teams. And the highest scoring jam for Vancouver. But this will give us time to tell you about Skate Rats. Dreaming of new roller skates? Okay, if you're a skater out there, don't lie. We know you are. You have 5 pairs. You know you need like 8 more. So you are dreaming of skates. So Skate Rats is your skate shop. With over 10 years of expert experience and knowledge of building roller skates and fitting safety gear, Skate Rats will set you up with the gear that is right for you. Visit Skate Rats' beautiful retail store in Loveland, Colorado for great service and the selection that you've been looking for. Log on to skaterats.com. That's SK8RATZ.com for fast, free shipping.
Or be here in the venue where they have a booth set up.
Yes.
Loveland, Colorado, home of our own Leslie Knope of 5on5 Media, working hard not only this weekend but the last several weekends in a row, bringing all the streams.
Yeah, unfortunately there's not a lot of Derby in Pawnee.
So, Fluster Cluck back up on his skates, being helped off the track.
Yeah, so it does look like... So he will go off the track. He'll have to take a few jams off. Hopefully it's nothing too serious, and he'll be able to come back later. But we'll find out, and that's what the medics are for. They make the decisions. We just say if we see him again.
The only people we would like to be bored in this arena are the medics.
Yes. The people who we don't want them to have to do their jobs. But, we want them to do it when they have to.
Absolutely.
We just don't want them to have to do it.
Precisely. Gearing up for the next jam will be the 19th jam of the game. Number 151, the Enabler, with the star for Texas. In the black jerseys, in the white jerseys, number is Vancouver Murder. Number 37, Stark, is their jammer.
Yes. So Stark, good footwork, but did lose his balance and was just so close to staying in bounds, wasn't able to. The Enabler is able to stay in bounds, gets lead jammer for Texas. Big Sexy with the block, but didn't quite get him out of bounds. Going up against that 3-wall, Lambo Arfides trying to be the disruptor of that defense as Stark completes his initial pass, getting past TJ Binkley and drawing a penalty on him as well.
So, approaching as Stark approaches the pack, Enabler calls it off 3 points on the jam. That'll take them to 85.
Yeah, 85-64, under 3.5 remaining on the board.
So, getting close to halftime here. The score differential is 21 points. We have seen more than that made up in the second period, so we got Joe Hurt, number 10, jamming against 110, Mr. Testosterone. Mr. T bumped into the outfield. Comes back behind the jammer line. Joe Hurt taking another crack at the pack. Squeezes through on the inside line. Lead jammer. That's 3 in a row for Texas.
Yeah, and Joe Hurt's been doing a great job all game long, getting lead and being consistent. He hasn't gotten, I don't think he's gotten lead every time, but he has been able to stop a lot of jams when he has not. This time Joe Hurt just gets through, taps his hips. He will only get 3, will not get that last point. I believe Stand Aside was able to be in front of him, and remain in front of him as the other jammer was approaching, so he calls it off.
Little enthusiastic yelling here in front of us. Maybe it leaked through the microphones.
Yeah.
64 to 88. If I were Bobby Narco, I would have to point out that is an 8 to 11 ratio with a common divisor of 8. But I'm not, so I won't.
You know, it's like you spend a weekend with him and it just wears off on you.
We got Stark back on the line after only one jam away for Vancouver, going up against Dr. Feelgood. This time Stark grabs lead.
Yeah, so Vancouver, that's just what they needed now, down 24, but still within striking distance. Dr. Feelgood out of the pack, about half track length behind and closing. Let's see what Stark decides to do here. I think he's going to let Feelgood into the pack and trust that his blockers are going to slow him down. He does get past a few, but there is a good block at the front by Fist.
So, recycled through the infield. Dr. Feelgood taking another pass at the pack while Stark picks up 4 more.
Yeah, untouched 4 right there for Stark. So far it's working out for him. Now Dr. Feelgood breaks through up the middle for 4 points.
Stark still 1 pass up on Dr. Feelgood.
Yeah, but Dr. Feelgood now approaching the pack. Let's see if Stark calls it off. He does. He will get another 2, so they do have a 6-point advantage on that jam. 10-4. Now 74-92. Texas remaining on top as we approach that 1 minute mark. So this potentially will probably be our final jam of the first half.
Very likely.
Remember, coming up next, we do have the championship game between the St. Louis Gatekeepers and Magic City Misfits. These teams did play earlier this year at ECDX. Magic City breaking that win streak of St. Louis that had gone back so many years and so many games, higher than I can count. So we'll see what happens in the rematch this time for a trophy.
Taking the star for Vancouver is number 7 Black Shadow, going up against the Enabler 151, and it is Black Shadow who is through 2 lead calls in a row for Vancouver.
Yeah, so maybe the momentum is starting to shift in their favor. We've seen how much the momentum plays into these games. Good moves there by Black Shadow.
All kinds of whistles blowing at the far end.
Yeah,
and it's a power play, track cut.
Power jam. It looked for a moment like they may have been calling the cut on Black Shadow, but it was on the Enabler, who is now in the penalty box. He's joined there by Lodge, the pivot of Vancouver.
Period clock expires. Jam clock controls.
Black Shadow able to find room. A great door opening by Harrison Ford. He does get a forearm for it, but it does open the door for Vancouver to get another 4 points. Stand aside, goes into TJ Binkley, and a little bit of a pileup. Going to call it off.
And that does, in fact, ice the Enabler in the penalty box for the first jam of the second period.
And he'll be joined there by Quadzilla.
It's been taken down to a 10-point game, 82-92. We're taking into halftime.
Yeah,
the official review is being called just at the end here.
Yeah, so we will find out what's going on with the official review, because we're not officially at halftime yet, just almost there. So close, but yet so far.
I'll give you a quick shout out to Sisu mouthguards, which allow you to talk, breathe, and drink. Picked from 14 colors and 5 styles. Sisu. So, conversations beginning in the center of the track.
Yeah, some clarifications as well as who should be staying in the box, who needs to, at least all at the end of the official review. Then they can go to the bench.
So, some highly unofficial statistics. 12 lead calls in the first period for Texas, 9 for Vancouver, 1 jam with no lead whatsoever. I see only 1 lost lead, that one belonging to Texas. So clearly a very close game, still within reach for either team.
And it looks like we are at halftime now.
Yeah.
So, all right, we are at halftime.
All right, so that halftime will last another 10 minutes and a bit, so in 8 or 9 minutes we'll come back to you. I'm Brad Example.
I'm Champ Unkind. Don't go anywhere. Unless you need to go to the bathroom, use it now. Welcome back to the second to last game of the 2019 MRDA Championship. It is the third place game between the Vancouver Murder and Texas Men's Roller Derby. 92-82, Outlaws on top. But we have some stats to go over before we get started in the second half.
Yeah, just a few quick things. First, very close first period, as you can see by the score, 12 of the lead calls ended up going to Texas, only 9 to Vancouver. And of those 12, Texas lost one of them to a penalty, but still the points extremely close. Penalty situation is also fairly even, with 20 assessed to Vancouver in the first period, 21 assessed to Texas. Only a couple skaters in any kind of penalty trouble. One of those is Vancouver's number 256, Morrison. He's had 5 trips to the box. And then for Texas, a couple of skaters sitting on 4 of them. One of them is number 22, Antrax, and one of them is the captain, number 4, TJ Binkley.
And the magic number is 3. You really don't want to get more than 3.5. You don't want to get really any and a half. That's the goal. But let's be honest, if you don't want to foul that, you don't want to get more than 3.5.
Jammer penalties have also been a little bit costly because there's only been 1 for Vancouver in the game so far, whereas Texas has committed 3 of them, and that's always an opportunity you don't want to give your opponent.
Absolutely not, and we've seen that be a problem in the first 2 games today. That was how the Comiquads came back against Anarchy.
Yes.
It's how NWO came back against the Heat. Murder's still very close here to the Outlaws on the scoreboard, only 10 points separating these 2 teams. If they continue with those penalties, I mean, we might see another one, but if they can slow it down or just keep that defense going, I mean, Texas still, they're in the winning position right now.
And speaking of penalties, the official review at the end of the first period was Texas trying to reverse the cutting call, presumably on number 151, the enabler, their Jammer. However, that call stands.
Well, it is Mr. Testosterone, who is already lead Jammer, the enabler already out of the box. 1 blocker in the box for each team, so 3-3 pack. Mr. T coming in for a scoring pass. Again, Texas is in black, Vancouver in white. And 4 points, Mr. Testosterone to start off the second half, now 86-92, but the enabler out of the pack on his initial pass. Mr. T through the pack, another 4. That's going to bring it up to 8 on the jam, now 92-90.
2-point game, everybody.
Yes.
29 minutes remaining at the game, so that's still plenty of time.
Yeah, there's a typo on our scoreboard. It was an 8-point jam, not 16, but that'll be corrected in just a moment. Just wanted to make sure the overall score is correct. That's what really matters.
Yeah, we due to circumstances, we are using a separate scoreboard from the official one. We will bring you the official results as needed.
Yes.
Number 28, Dr. Feelgood, takes the star for Texas against number 37, Stark for Vancouver.
And there is Dr. Feelgood looking for room, and looks like a lead was already picked up by Stark, who's just going to call it off.
Yeah, Dr. Feelgood managed to squeeze out, and so
0-0 jam.
100% point free.
And fast.
That takes us down to just about 28.5 to go.
It's going to be Flustercluck
taking on Joe Hurt.
Yeah, so still a 2-point game. Very, very close. Nobody currently in the 808 roller skates penalty box. Flustercluck looking for room.
Vancouver lined up at the back of the pack to contain Joe Hurt. But now Joe Hurt pushing at the top, lead Jammer.
Yeah. Oh, wait.
Nope.
Forearm on Joe Hurt. We've got a power jam in favor of Vancouver. Vancouver does have 2 blockers in the box, stand aside and lodge.
What we'll find out in a moment is whether Joe Hurt was awarded lead before picking up the penalty. Apparently not, because the lead was still available and is grabbed by Flustercluck.
Yeah, he was right on that line too, but great job staying in bounds. 2 blockers. Looks like Bruceberry Pie and Harassin Ford going to jump in there and try to open the door. But they still have 4 blockers out there for Texas. And that Texas defense is nothing to laugh at.
Falling off the jam just as Joe Hurt emerges from the penalty box. Points are
3.
And
folks,
guess what?
Lead change. Take a drink of water. Stay hydrated, folks.
Especially if you're up here at altitude and you're not accustomed to be.
Exactly.
But so far, of the 3 jams in the second period, Vancouver's gotten all the leads and all the points.
Yes, they have.
26.5 on the clock when we start our next jam. Dr. Feelgood back to the line for Texas, taking on number 110, Mr. Testosterone.
Yeah, so 2 very well-known jammers going against each other. Vancouver looking to add some points to that lead, and Texas looking to take it right back. And it's Mr. T into the inside. TJ Binkley with a good hit, and Dr. Feelgood will get lead. I bet he feels good about that one.
No doubt, especially since it's the first one of the period for his team.
Mr. Testosterone over the apex and through the pack for his initial pass. Dr. Feelgood at the front, just going to call it off quickly. He's going to get 4, and Texas will take back the lead.
96 now on the board for the Texas Outlaws to Vancouver Murders 93.
Yeah, so it looks like the 808 roller skates penalty box is empty. Stark with the star, and Ruffin, star for Texas.
Quick thanks to 888. The certified Sweat Saver helmets have different shell sizes and plush thick liners that give you 16 custom sizing options. Find your fit with 888.
You know, sometimes I wish they would do a bad lip reading of roller derby. There's Stark at the front of the pack, 2 to beat. He already does have lead, but did get reabsorbed in the pack. Kind of a common theme here that's happened a few times with the Vancouver Jammers. He is through now, but Ruffin not far behind. And with that Vancouver pack position, this is going to be a decision that Stark is going to have to make. Fortunately, his pack is moving up. Maybe he can steal a couple points. Let's see.
Definitely trying. I think. Ooh, one stolen by Ruffin, 3 taken by Stark.
Yeah, so that is going to make it a 1-point game. Texas on top, 97-96. Under 25 minutes remaining. Remember, the winner of this places third, gets bronze. The loser goes home. But the winner also technically goes home. So
at least we hope they manage to make it home.
Yes. Please, everybody get home safely.
Fortunately, it's mostly downhill from here.
Yes.
Literally.
Unless you're going west.
Yeah, you got to get over those pesky Rockies.
Yeah.
Number 7, Black Shadow, jamming for Vancouver. Number 10, Joe Hurt for Texas.
And Black Shadow is lead jammer.
That's 5 out of the 6 jams this period. Vancouver's taken the lead.
Yeah, so momentum for this half, at least right now, is in their favor. Of course, there's plenty of time, and we know that pendulum swings back and forth. Takes off the star. Joe Hurt goes stealth mode, but he does get through the pack on the initial.
On advice from basically everybody in the venue, Black Shadow calls it off.
Nice when that happens. And 4 points on the board, Vancouver. So we've got another lead change, 100-97. Vancouver.
So I believe that this is the largest lead that Vancouver's had during the game.
Yes, because I believe the other one was 1 point.
Albeit only by 3 points.
Yeah, so much more comfortable. It is Mr. Testosterone and Dr. Feelgood, Dr. Feelgood was the jammer the last time that Vancouver had lead. This is a rematch of actually that same situation.
You are correct, and it's the same result.
Yeah, Dr. Feelgood through the pack. Mr. T, though, this time not catching up with them as quickly. Taking a few hits as Dr. Feelgood is approaching that Vancouver pack, which is a few feet behind the Texas pack. The strength of Mr. Testosterone, though, pulling that pack forward for the initial. 4 points, Dr. Feelgood. Another lead change. Texas is back on top for now. And based on that pack position, it looks like Dr. Feelgood's going to actually try to score a few more points.
It certainly has allowed Mr. T into the pack for points.
Mr. T through the pack for 4 points. Great footwork, staying in bounds. And now some trouble, stand aside. And Zimmer with some great blocking at the front, slowing him down. Let's see if Dr. Feelgood calls it off in time.
Nope. Opts not to.
Bruceberry Pie opening the door, or at least attempting to open the door.
A star pass by Vancouver.
Well, they didn't have lead anyway, why not? But the difference is now they can't get points for passing all these players.
Indeed.
4 points, Dr. Feelgood, now up to 12 on the jam and a 5-point lead.
I believe that's Morrison that took the star pass?
Yes. Morrison gets pushed out.
And another scoring pass underway for Dr. Feelgood. Oh, huge hit there by Zimmer.
But still able to stay in bounds.
Yes.
Great work by Dr. Feelgood. Didn't fall sideways as Zimmer intended it to. Fell forward and stayed in. So 3 points on that pass from, it was Mr. Testosterone scored the points before passing the star. That's going to be the end of the jam.
Calling it off from the floor with one additional point, Dr. Feelgood. That adds up to 17 on the jam for a total of 114. Both teams now in triple digits. It's 107 for Vancouver.
21 and a half remaining, and a timeout being taken by Texas.
Stops the clock at 21 minutes and 31 seconds.
This timeout brought to us by Sisu. Talk, breathe, drink, more protection, less mouthguard. Sisu. Yeah, I've heard people be able to talk so well with their Sisus in their mouth. I kind of want to try announcing a game with it.
Oh my! Just to show that it's possible.
Yeah, I've done 300 and something games. I need a challenge. Let's do it with a mouthguard. And if there's a mouthguard to do it with, it would be Sisu.
Another quick one is thanks to 187 Killer Pads, designed, tested, and trusted by top pros since 1999.
Before half of Golden State's team was born.
Top pros.
Top pros. Top pros.
Yes. We're in the pros business here as we describe to you the events of the 16th and shall we say penultimate game of the 2019 MRDA Championships.
Yeah, but there's a Stark in a penultimate, and I don't trust that.
Said Stark is taking the Jammer Star for Vancouver in this next jam, going up against number 10, Joe Hurt for Texas.
It looks like here we go. Back we go to the track. It is an empty 808 skates penalty box. Joe Hurt gets pushed to the inside. That's Big Sexy with that hit with the assist from Rogers. And a forearm on Stark is going to send him back into the Night's Watch for 30 seconds. And Big Sexy will join him.
Joe Hurt still on his initial pass, pushing at the top of the pack, which is just outside turn number 2. Braced two-wall there, anchored by Zimmer.
Yeah, then his fist behind him. Lead jammer does go to Joe Hurt, but good defense. But took about 40 seconds or so off the clock.
First time Texas has been able to string 2 leads together this period.
And over one jammer dodges, or blocker dodges another. Now into fist, showing off every skill you have for 4 points.
Halfway through the 2-minute jam, if it does go 2 minutes, Stark is out of the penalty box, through the pack, clear to score.
Fist, using a different part of his body to block, gets him out. That's another 2 points.
Takes us to 120 for Texas, 107 for Vancouver. Just over 20 minutes to play. First time we've seen Lodge on the jammer line for Vancouver in a while.
But he's going up against another jammer we haven't seen for Texas in a while, Tally.
Yes, first jam this period for either of these.
And already just over 10 minutes into it. So, currently nobody in that 808 roller skates penalty box. Tally moving to the outside past his own pack, but right into Bruiseberry Pie and stand aside. And no track cut on Lodge, lead jammer. He's going to go to the penalty lodge.
That is jammer penalties in successive jams for Vancouver.
Yeah, and that's always a problem, especially when you got a game this close. That's how you can let it get out of hand, is especially with power jams and just overall penalties.
And Vancouver, I should say, was super clean in the first period with only one jammer penalty the entire period.
Bruiseberry Pie held on as long as she could, but eventually did have to let go of Tally. She will actually go to the penalty box now. But Lodge is standing, so less than 10 seconds remaining on the power jam. Stand aside, Harass and Ford and Morrison are the blockers trying to stop and slow down the power jam.
That's a second 4-point pass for Tally. No, 3 points on that one. Oh, no, it's 4. I saw the no pass, no penalty.
3.5.
Yeah. It's 4.
Yeah, we round up.
Attempted star pass by Vancouver.
And he's stashing
Not completed.
Yeah, he's just going to stash it, get past the last blocker. That is number 22, Antrax. Bruiseberry Pie again giving chase. It's close. She's like, in, but did she? I don't see her heading to the box, so she was able to stop him and slow him down. No points on that last pass.
Actually, I think it was 4 on the last pass as Tally hit the deck, and 4 for Texas, I should say. None for Vancouver.
That's where I was going with it.
12-point jam takes us to 132 to 107. So Definitely what you would call not what you would call a safe lead, but
No.
a little bit more comfortable than being behind for Texas.
No, and I mean, we saw it with the Golden State game. It was, like a 30-something point difference
Yeah.
within the last two jams, and then Manchester came back and won. Same with the Comiquads, same situation. So lead jammer now going to Black Shadow of the Murder. It is Ruffin or Danger Zone. He goes by either. He is the jammer for Texas.
That does break a 3-jam lead streak for Texas.
Ruffin.
Direction being called on a Vancouver blocker.
Lambeau Arfides tried to put a big hit on Black Shadow, but gets a big hit on himself instead. Big Sexy now going to the penalty box for Vancouver, so it's one blocker each.
Ruffin clear of the pack. Already 4 points for Black Shadow, who spins into the pack, calls it off. The tally is 2 more.
Yeah, so that'll bring it up to 6-0 on the jam. 132-113, about 7 minutes remaining.
17?
17 minutes remaining, excuse me. Time remaining. Time is remaining.
We're going to start with a 2-blocker deficit for Vancouver.
Yeah, it is going to be Fluster Cluck and the Enabler. The Enabler right into stand aside. Bruiseberry Pie, the next line of defense. TJ Binkley going to try to open the hole for his jammer. Now playing bridge.
Forearm is being signaled on number 4, stand aside.
Stand aside, who will skate aside to the penalty box.
That lets the Enabler through lead jammer for Texas.
Yeah, and leaves Bruiseberry Pie as the lone blocker for Vancouver. Fortunately, the reinforcements are coming back with Fist and Big Sexy. Bruiseberry Pie doing the best she can, but it's never easy to block as one. And it is a power jam. Ooh, cleanup on turn 3. Bring them up. Okay, everybody's up. Good.
The call on Fluster Cluck was a track cut.
And Vancouver has a very full penalty box with 3 sitting, 1 standing. That is stand aside, who is now coming back. Another 4 points for Texas on 12 points already in the jam.
Thank you, Sonia Blade, for producing for us and letting
Yes.
us know about that track cut penalty.
4 more for the Enabler. That's 16 on the jam. He's just going to call it off as he sees Fluster coming back out there.
So 16 on the jam takes Texas to 148 points. Still 113 on the board for Vancouver. Just over 15 minutes on the clock.
2 blockers standing in the box for Vancouver. 1 in the box sitting for Texas. So 3-2 pack advantage, but it's going to be less than 10 seconds on that, unless people get other penalties. Stark and Dr. Feelgood will be the next jammers. Both moving to the inside. And it is Stark, lead jammer. But Dr. Feelgood about not even a quarter of a track length behind him and catching up quick.
Big Sexy back out of the penalty box and into the mix.
Yeah, Murder back up to full strength. Never mind. Bruiseberry Pie back to the penalty box. 3 points.
To 4 points on the pass.
Yeah, so even though Murder do have lead, 3-4 on that pass. Stark, nice footwork staying in bounds, getting past Lambeau, Arfides, and Antrax. That's 4 points, Vancouver. And you know what? Sometimes you trust your blockers, and it pays off, and that's what's happening now. That is Jones with some great blocking, holding him to the outside. Lambeau, Arfides, and Antrax completing that 3-wall. Dr. Feelgood star pass to, that is Lambeau, Arfides.
First star pass of the period for Texas, at least, and only the second one of the game. This is also the first jam in which both teams have scored since the 7th jam of the period. So final tally is 11-4 on the jam, 124-152.
At just under 13 and a half remaining in this bronze medal game. I don't know what kind of medal you get for 4th place, but we don't have one.
It is Black Shadow number 7 versus Joe Hurt number 10.
Not to be confused, that Vancouver is in white, Texas is in black. So Black Shadow is lead jammer.
In a white jersey.
In a white jersey, yeah. as Joe Hurt tries to jump the apex. No pass, no penalty. So, but he's not lead jammer anyway. So,
right.
Just some arm exercise for the ref, basically.
4 points for Black Shadow, continuing to skate,
and 4 points for Joe Hurt. So it's a neutral jam. Now into the pack, up the middle, spins around, taps his hips, calls it off. Going to get another 3 points, so 7-4 in favor of Vancouver on the jam, just as we're about to hit 12.5 remaining.
Yeah, that last little pass there was all the difference in the score on that jam.
Mr. Testosterone will put on the star for Vancouver.
He's been sitting out, at least as jammer, for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of the time he just jams maybe every 2, 3, 4 jams, and they haven't been using him as much as usual.
Team timeout called by Texas.
Yeah, so team timeout will give them time to talk about stuff, and time for us to talk about Moonshine Company. Moonshine shorts are designed, handmade, and operated by single moms out of San Luis Obispo of the Central Coast of California, with fabrics made in the USA. Moonshine also now carries men's shorts in 3 different lengths, in addition to our shorts and capris for women and children. You can make your moonshine with Moonshine shorts at www.makeyourmoonshine.com and at derbywarehouse.com.
I know they carry men's shorts because Moonshine tried to sell me some.
Yes, and actually Moonshine is the owner's name as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we can say Moonshine like 20 times in that sponsor read, and it's all accurate and about multiple things.
So as we were preparing for this jam that did not occur, saw a little friendly greeting between Mr. T and Ruffin out there. Always great to see derby camaraderie, bridging teams.
Mr. T is just a very friendly guy. Like if you've never met him, he will love to meet you. Trust me. Like he's just so nice. And they're like rock, paper, scissors. They keep talking. And there's the whistle.
Jam starts. So
I think Mr. T won.
Ruffin was replaced by the enabler on the jammer line for Texas.
And Mr. T did win the rock, paper, scissors matchup with rock over scissors. And let's see if he can get lead. He does lead jammer Mr. T 2 for 2 in 1 jam.
Wow. 3 jams, 3 leads in a row for Vancouver. Exactly what they're looking for right now.
You wonder why I love MRDA. Enabler, star in hand. He is stealth mode at the moment. As Mr. T, unable to stay in bounds, going to recycle. Wise decision. Jones will be heading to the penalty box
for a full minute.
Yeah, so 2 penalties on a blocker. That is Jones, but Lambo Arfides is standing up, so they will get a blocker back in this 4-2 pack advantage. Mr. Testosterone tiptoes to the apex with I believe that was a double sow cow. 4
I'll
points.
take your word for it.
Yeah. Oh! Pile up into Lambo Arfides and stand aside as no pass, no penalty. Good awareness there by Mr. Testosterone to know where his feet were and where the blocker's feet were. Doesn't waste time to get 3.
The enabler made it out of the pack, not in time to get points. So a 7-point jam win for Vancouver takes them within 21 points of Texas.
Yeah, and remember, in the first 2 games today, we saw, 2 30-point comebacks in the last jam. So 21 points with 10.5 remaining. Man, there's a lot of derby we got left. It's going to be Stark and Dr. Feelgood. 2 Texas blockers in the penalty box. That's Jones and Big O. I'm sorry, the Big O. I'm from Ohio. We know to say the before certain things, like the Ohio State.
Right, university and all that. Both jammers out. Lead is Stark.
And Stark is through 4 points. You always sometimes want to make sure there's no penalty there, and he did it cleanly, 4 points. Now coming back into the pack, taking a hit from the Big O. Dr. Feelgood through the pack. He will get 4 of his own, but another 4 on the board for Stark, now 8-4. Let's see if he tries to pass him. He's right behind him. Oh, hello there.
Does not call it off. Both jammers engaging.
Well, it's a 2-2 pack, so... And a good hit there by stand aside. Now a great move to get past Big O, and Jones the final blocker. Big O recovers.
It's Texas that's regaining blockers more quickly than Vancouver.
But there is only 1 blocker out there for Vancouver right now. That's stand aside, and it's going to be an 8-8 jam. Oh, I'm sorry. No, never mind. It is going to be a 12-8 jam.
Right.
In favor of the Murder. So 17 points separating these two teams, 167, 150, 9 minutes remaining.
It's definitely going to be an exciting one down to the wire again. We can't predict right now if it's going to be a come-from-behind victory, but it's certainly well within the cards. For the second time in the game, we're seeing a matchup of the number 7s, Black Shadow jamming against Tally. But first, a team timeout by Vancouver stops the clock at 8 minutes and 50 seconds.
So either way for Texas, they were going to finish this season above where they finished last season. They're going to finish with a better place. Vancouver finished 4th last year. They want to finish at least 3rd now. You know, this was a team that some people thought may be able to sneak into the championship game, may be able to pull that upset. They had the really big upset last year in the first round against Southern Discomfort. So, I mean, they were that spoiler. They were that bracket buster. I can tell you that because they busted my bracket. And most of you at home as well. But, you know, Vancouver is one of those teams that can sneak up on you and score a lot of points really quickly. Their defense can lock down. I'm not sure if Texas was necessarily expecting this from Vancouver. But either way, Vancouver has kept up the whole way, and they really want to medal for the first time. They've been one of these teams that's consistently gotten to champs for years and years and years and just has not been able to medal, and they want it. They're hungry. They want that medal.
Absolutely.
I mean, don't eat the medals, but they want the medal.
Figuratively.
Figuratively speaking. I know they might have chocolate in the medals. I don't know. I haven't done the bite testing.
I know, is that on gold, right?
Exactly. As announcers, you know, we're supposed to touch the medals, but I don't test them like that.
So we've had a swap out of Texas Jammers. It's Joe Hurt in there instead of Tally.
And that is Black Shadow for Vancouver. Only one blocker remaining in the box for Vancouver, but it is Joe Hurt, lead jammer, Texas.
That is the first lead in the last 5 jams for Texas.
Joe Hurt takes a hit, unable to stay in bounds. Great hit there by Rogers.
Joe Hurt looking for the right place to re-enter the track. Pushing at the top of the black. Black Shadow is through and clear to score.
Joe Hurt is going to call it off. Play it safe. Let's see. He does get 3 points on the jam to add just a little more to the Texas lead.
Makes it a 20-point game, 170 to 150. 8 minutes to play.
So, Stark will have the star. 1 in the box to start for Texas. That is G.I. Joel.
This time it is Tally coming out to jam for Texas.
Yes. You might be able to hear Raucous Ron pumping up the crowd in the background.
It's easy to hear Raucous Ron if you're in the neighborhood.
Yes. Pretty much within a 100-mile radius.
Strike through for lead. Tally still having trouble in the pack, but finds a seam on the inside, clear to score. That might limit the damage that Stark does.
Yeah, especially with Tally coming back into the pack quickly. Did he stay in? Well, he recycles either way, so it's okay. I do believe he probably got a couple points there, but Stark trusting his blockers. He's really trying to let his defense help him out so that maybe he can get more points. I mean, at this point in the game, you almost do have to trust your blockers to be able to do that. Take those risks.
That's why it's a team game.
Exactly. If it's like in other sports. If you play conservative towards the end when it's close, you're still giving the other team the opportunity.
Yeah.
So Stark with another 4. That's 8 now. Tries to jump the apex, but unable to. Rhino in the way.
There's for the 4 points collected by Tally, completing his first scoring pass.
Yeah. So now...
Stark's third scoring pass, resulting in 3 more.
Yes, 3 more, so 11 to 4 on the jam. Now 174, 161, as we're about to hit 6 minutes remaining. Whew.
Mr. Testosterone, number 110, with the star for Vancouver Murder.
And Dr. Feelgood for Texas.
Quick thanks to 360 Pitting of Arvada. Call them at 720-940-3887 to schedule your free estimate.
All right, Mr. Testosterone at the front of the pack. It is Harrison Ford, who is trying to do some offensive blocking. Mr. T gets pushed to the inside, has to recycle now behind Dr. Feelgood, and Dr. Feelgood able to stay in bounds, lead jammer Texas. 1 to beat for Vancouver, no pass, no penalty, but again, he's not lead. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
Dr. Feelgood to the front, getting past stand aside, and Morrison, he'll get 3 on the jam and call it off. Of course, right now, get your 3. The clock is on your side. You are winning. Get those 3. Don't risk a penalty. Don't risk them scoring 4. Smart move, Dr. Feelgood. That's probably why he skates for one of those really good national teams.
16 points separating the teams. That can be 1 jam's worth. Number 56, Ruffin, is going to jam next for Texas. I believe that is number 7. Yep. Black Shadow.
There we go. Ruffin with some defensive jamming there, trying to push Black Shadow to the inside, but he was able to stay in bounds. Black Shadow now at the front of the pack, going up against that Texas pack. All 4 blockers are out there for Texas. Actually, all 4 blockers are out there for both teams.
Pack spreading out between turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, and it looks like a... Okay, so he does get a track cut. So it is going to be a power jam. Wait, no, because Ruffin going to the box also for a track cut. So it's only going to be a couple of seconds. And Black Shadow has already been released. Ruffin will be released in just a couple moments.
It means this is going to be a 2-minute jam, which will take us pretty darn close to the end of the game.
So it could potentially favor Texas just based on the clock being able to move. And both jammers. Let's see what happens here with these jammers now being back out there and the box currently being empty. So TJ Binkley with some good blocking there.
Ruffin has removed the star. Black Shadow kept it on.
Lambo Arfides. That was a good fake because it did look for a second like Lambo had it. But Ruffin does have it in his hand.
Action is in turn 3.
Now that was another good fake because Lambo, even not looking, put his hand back, knowing what Ruffin was going to do, but Ruffin keeps the star and is through the pack. That's just his initial, though.
At this point, Black Shadow has removed the star and is holding it.
Oh, he looked at Ruffin and said, great idea.
Now it has been passed to number 4-1. That is Rogers.
Yes. Usually Rogers has a star in his shield, not his hat.
4 points collected by Ruffin.
And 4 points collected by Rogers.
Final seconds of the jam.
Another 2 for Ruffin and Texas.
Those 2 are the difference. Official review called by Vancouver stops the clock at 2 minutes and 43 seconds.
So, yeah.
Yeah, 165 is the total for Vancouver. 183. It's a 13-point game.
So after the final game, which is coming up next between the St. Louis Gatekeepers, defending champions, 4-time defending champions, St. Louis Gatekeepers, and the Magic City Misfits, it is going to be the MVP Awards and also the Sports Conduct Award winner, the Batwing Award. So it is presented by 888 and 187 Killer Pads. The winners will get 888 certified Sweat Saver helmets, 187 Slim knee pads, 187 Slim elbow pads, 187 Derby wrist guards, and a Sisu mouth guard. It's $190 value for each package.
Toss a quick thank you to Death and Glory Skate Shop. They're a new quad shop and gear website bringing more fun to Colorado and all of North America. Death and Glory have years of boot fitting experience and offer a fun, relatable experience every time. Check them out at deathandgloryskate.com. That sheet's done. That sheet's done.
We've talked about you all.
Yes.
If you are in the Denver area and do want to come out to the after party, it is at Hangar 151. In case we have any Denver roller derby skaters, fans. Who might want to come out and hang out with us and watch the announcers win the after party as we always do. I can't wait to see Brad Example dancing.
There's one event where I can claim to have won the after party, and that was I was only there as a spectator, though. This was the WFTDA Championships in Nashville in 2014.
Okay,
and a few of us announcer types were there, and we shut the joint down.
All right, so now I've been challenged. we're going to get the clarification. This is an official review, not a team timeout. Official review taken by Vancouver. Our wonderful producer, Sonia Blade, is getting all the information, and we'll tell you in just a moment.
And they weren't in position to touch.
So let me talk to Sonia, find out what went on.
And I'll talk to you people at home if anything else happens in between. Does look like Lambeau is going to start in the box for Texas, along with another Texas blocker in that 808 roller skates penalty box. So Joe Hurt will have the star. Kerry Stark will have the star for Vancouver. So 4-2 pack advantage in favor, and it's the worst thing in Derby. The jammer block. Let's go backwards. But, I mean, I can't complain because this is a good strategy for Texas right now.
I've seen it work as well. I've seen not often, but I have seen the opposing jammer be absorbed by the pack.
Well, fortunately, he went back all the way. Couldn't go really any further thanks to the pack. So it is prevented from nothing happening is prevented from happening. And lead jammer goes to Vancouver as we're just over 2 minutes remaining. Let's see what happens. Only 16 points separating these two teams. Joe Hurt completing his initial pass. Stark has got to be careful here. Great footwork into Lambeau Arfides. And Joe Hurt over the apex. Sometimes you take risks and sometimes they don't pay off. Joe Hurt now with the positional advantage. 4-4 on the jam, which is advantage Texas.
So that results in a score of 169 to 187, still an 18-point game, with about a minute and a half on the period clock.
And it looks like Vancouver is going to spend their last team timeout.
That gives me time to quickly explain that official review. Vancouver was asking for a track-cutting call, but it was determined that there was no impact because the jam came to its natural conclusion. There was no position gained. Therefore, the no call stood, and the review was not retained. This is, in fact, Vancouver's last opportunity to stop the clock.
Yeah, and with a minute 33 left, I mean, you're looking at potentially one, maybe two more jams, maybe even three, but they need to get a lot of points very quickly now, 18 points. So if there's a power jam in their favor, I mean, that's going to make it a lot easier for them. But really, I mean, Texas, if they can get lead, it's over.
And the last thing that Vancouver wants to do is to have a jammer penalty, of which they have had 1, 2, 3, 4 this period. Yeah,
basically, if there's a jammer penalty, Texas just stands still and can wind down the clock, and they'll finish third. Remember, it's not about how much you win by; it's just about if you win.
Yes.
That's all you have to do here, because we in sports usually the team that finishes winning a championship is the number one team. I don't know; it's kind of crazy that way. Most sports are played on the track instead of a computer.
I don't know. I'm a computer gamer.
Okay, that's different. We're not talking about esports,
It is Dr. Feelgood with a star against Mr. Testosterone.
Yeah, great blocking by this Texas pack. That's Jones and Quadzilla on the outside. And it is Mr. T going up one-on-one against... Oh, no, it is Dr. Feelgood getting past and a power jam.
What did I just say about jammer penalties?
Sorry, curse of the announcers. Mr. T, he was... By the look on his face, he knows he did it. And he is not happy with himself.
Track cut called on Mr. T, and it's a power play and lead call for Dr. Feelgood, who is not really risking it.
No, he's just skating in circles on the tiniest track I've ever seen.
Although, there is enough time that Mr. T is going to come back onto the track.
Yeah, so he does get through. He is going to pick up his 4 points. He's really just trying not to get a penalty.
Indeed.
But with the period clock now down so low, he's got to feel a little safer, even with Mr. T coming back out there. That extra 4 points gives them a little bit more cushion.
Half a minute remaining on the period clock.
Dr. Feelgood and Texas in control. One skater in the box for Texas. That is G.I. Joel.
It is possible and indeed likely for this to be the final jam of the game.
Yeah, time winding down. Unless Dr. Feelgood not even playing O at this point, just standing. And it's a smart move. It is a smart move. He doesn't want to commit a penalty. All he's got to do is give it 5 seconds, and that's it.
So, at this point, he is calling it off. Period clock does expire. One final point for Dr. Feelgood. Total of 5 on the jam. They stand at 192 to Texas's 169.
So, Texas, they finished last season, I believe, at 8th. They will finish this season at 3rd. Vancouver finishes right where they started last year at 4th. But we do have a slight change in the rankings over this year now. And, well, we will anyway, because Magic City also wasn't finishing number 2 last year. That was Bridgetown.
This was a very interesting period. It started off looking like Vancouver was coming out swinging. They were staking their claim. They were holding Texas scoreless for a number of jams at the beginning of the period, but they just could not sustain it, even though they got 12 of the 20 lead calls in the period to Texas's 8, one with no lead.
Yes.
They could not hang on, and it ends up being a 23-point victory for the Outlaws.
Yeah, so official final score, 192-169. Texas will finish in third place and take home bronze medals. That's it. That's the 2019 season for these two teams, and that's the last you'll hear from us at this tournament. I'm Champ Unkind.
I'm Brad Example.
Have a decent day.